So for the air sensitive sample, this is already an assembled sample. What we need to make is we need to have a double-sided tape, the same tape in the background, covered with a little tape when we pump it through the antechamber of the glove box and make sure it's not going to be contaminated. So to make this cell, and also create a window at the end to cover it when you take it out in a jar from the glove box. So to make this, what we need is, obviously, since we need to cut out the window, we need the double-sided tape. So start with that. Again, after trimming, I like to remove all these little extra pieces so it's nice and smooth, because it can stick to many things, flip the whole thing over. It's just more safe handling, especially in a glove box. Cut out the window. And don't throw this away because we're going to use this piece to cover it. So now it's good to go. Now we do exactly the same thing what we did before for the non-air sensitive sample setup. And of course this can be done outside of the box and the whole thing can be pumped in together. So good. Now we have ready to go. Just nice, make sure it's a nice seal, again not touching the window itself. Then this is saved, so recommend to use exactly the same thing, especially because if you use skin wipes or anything else that may stick to the tape permanently and it's going to be very difficult to remove it. Fold the end a little bit so it's going to be easy with a tweezer, a pair of tweezers to grab it in the box, and also help yourself when you're working in the box 3 and in the morning. So you don't need to do this in the box because you have this little tab made, and just with a pair of tweezers quickly you can remove it. So practically this is done. So now to make this window, you're gonna use polypropylene film 0.2 mil. It's practically the thinnest little film you can get, and just take a little piece. Use regular tape. This is just again handling, so this is not gonna touch any sample. Fold the tab so you can handle it on it. Fold it over. And so it's so thin that if you do it a little bit too forcefully, you may tear it. So other side, turn it. Good. And again, depending on how much time you have, I'm sure you don't necessarily need to use the tab. How much time you have, you can just do one side, 2 sides, 3 sides. I like to do 4 sides just in case. Again, the box, the dry box or the glove box generally has lots of electrostaticity, and so this can easily fly everywhere, wrinkle up, but this way you give a little frame, you can stretch it out. And the sample prep in the glove box, the same thing with a pair of tweezers. Remove this. Now you're exposed. This tape is exposed, so now you can go and again the same idea of dab, 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 and then make sure it's as even as possible. The beam is generally a 2 by 10 millimeter spot, so this is more than enough, but just in case when you mount it a little crooked, then with smearing on the surface, make sure that the beam is going to hit some sample. Remove this cover, and now try to put it on it stretched a little bit, drop on one side and then close it in the other side, go around, make sure that all the holes are nicely sealed all around, and then cut it. Here the key to focus on that, keep the blade away from the window. Polypropylene window, smooth it out all around, look for any little cracks, channels leading to the surface. No, it looks good. And then depending on the size of the sample set, it's small, use an appropriate size of jar, put it in there, Teflon tape around it, seal it, and you can take it out through the antechamber. And even if this moves around, since it's covered, it's not going to contaminate other samples, or it's going to kept in place. Okay, and at the beam line, take it out, mount it with the regular tape to the paddle. Okay, so this is 4-3, 6-2. Really, what you need is a tape, any kind of thickness, polypropylene window, the very thin version, double-sided tape. Everything can be prepared outside, and just the final step is the window. Put it on in the, after pasting the sample. They're important is to create little tabs, so it's easy to handle. Also, when you go to the take samples into the beamline, generally you can use a metal piece to cut on it, so you don't need to pump down this big cutting board.